What's up, everybody? So today we're talking about God of War, specifically my pitches for what I would do with the series, which is crazy because as I was thinking about recording this, news came out that, because the last video I did was about the God of War Faye game that might be coming. Like a couple of days ago, they just announced that, oh yeah, not only is the game still reportedly real and about Faye, but MP First said that Tyr might be a part of the game, and that there will be multiple mythologies in the game. Specifically, they're saying like Chinese and Japanese references. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But that isn't part of this video. I just wanted to bring that up because I was like, oh, it's crazy. I was thinking about making this video, and then more news broke about the last video I made, right? So with this video, I have two pitches for what I would do with the God of War series. Assuming, I could go back in time, post Ragnarok, or maybe, during development. I don't know how video games work. And, I'll be like, all right, cool. This is what we're doing, right? So that being said, before you say it, I am basically kind of copying the Spider-Man formula, okay? So I said it before you did, okay? We're going to start off with pitch number one. And for pitch number one, we are doing a small, short adventure game, as I like to call them. Something like Spider-Man Miles Morales, Uncharted Lost Legacy. This is an 8 to 10 hour game, tops like $40. And we are going to focus on Atreus. We're not doing Faye. The reason that we're doing this is that clearly Kratos has to go, right? We need to move on with the series. Atreus gameplay, mixed, right? I feel like a lot of people didn't like his section of Ragnarok. I know me personally, I liked the, shooting from afar, but getting up close and hitting people with your bow wasn't fun. I thought they were going to give us that sword, but instead that sword was sentient, and it was like our partner didn't like that. So we need people to care about Atreus so that we can move the series forward and, get people to be on board. Naturally, people are going to drop off, but I feel like if we can get a fun game out of him, people will be more inclined to be like, okay, I want more of the series. Let's see more of what his story has to offer. So again, we're doing a short adventure game, 8 to 10 hours, $40, right? What are we going to do with him? I'm going to call this, and for both of these pitches, let's just have the names be like working titles. I would call this God of Mischief. He is Atreus, but he's also Loki, right? God of Mischief. We're going to send him to America. All right. We're going to have him roll with some tribe of the Native Americans. Why? Some of them, because I looked it up real quick. Some believe in, the creator, like one God. Some of them believe in other things. I know a lot in like Native American, central things in terms of like movies and TV. Granted, they're probably made by white people, but a lot of times when you watch stuff like that, they have the idea of spirits, right? So I want to go with a tribe that specifically believes in spirits. Why? I think this works for Atreus in a couple ways. One, this opens up the universe not only to him but to us. We're not always going to have a pantheon of gods. This makes things separate by doing a collection of spirits, whatever they believe in. I don't know if you'd call that a pantheon, but their kind of group. The other thing is that when you get to Native Americans, right, there is a lot about being in the land, and then the spirits of like the plants and the animals, and using every part of the animal. And sometimes there's the idea of like, all right, if you kill the animal, you kind of like pray over it and you thank it for like giving you life and stuff like that. I think that works for Atreus because since the first game, he's all about animals. He sends out animal spirits. Second game, he literally turns into animals. He is all about nature. When it comes to spirits, Fenrir, he literally Odin, he literally takes the souls out of them and puts them into other objects. So I feel like this whole idea already works with Atreus. He's kind of already been doing this. And so I think having him be in the similar vein of like where we've already had him is like, hey, we're not doing anything too crazy, but we are getting a little different and switching things up for everyone, including his character. Now, I personally want him to have a weapon that is similar to his father, but obviously we want him to be different. So I would give him some sort of god-like version of, have you ever seen Prey? She has a hatchet, but it's like on a string, so she can like throw it and then pull it back. It doesn't make sense in the movie, but in a video game, especially if it's like imbued with some sort of magic, I think that could be cool of him having like some sort of mid-range thing where he can like throw the hatchet out and like pull it back to him. And instead of him being strong enough to like pull an enemy towards us, I'd like it if it was like a Spider-Man thing where you could throw the hatchet at someone, pull yourself in, and then start, getting on in there. And then also he'd still have his bow, so you have the long range covered. He still has magic. And I think with, Native Americans, maybe get some more spirits going in there. Obviously, there are animals he's never seen. I don't think there's moose, in Norse mythology. So, maybe he can summon more spirits this time around. And he also turns into animals. So now we got more animal spirits going on. So I'd love if he could, like, he can turn into a bear, but he can also summon, an ultimate, like, stampede of horses to, like, come on through. And I think the biggest thing that would shake up this video game is we are going to switch the combat style, and we are going to go more of like what they are supposedly doing with the Faye game of having a more action, DMC Final Fantasy 16 type of like almost like floaty combat. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, you can't just change the combat. And it's like, shut up. We've already done that. All right. If you go from the Greece trilogy to the Norse trilogy, different style of games, we're going to do that. We need people to be excited about Atreus. And I think having him kind of have a more action style, he is younger, right? He has more energy, and have him like float around, magic, pulling himself in, almost like you're playing, like Spider-Man, kind of like pulling him in, boom, 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 doing magic, pull out your arrow, bah, 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 bah. Like, he's fluid. I think that would have people way more excited for the game. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with this short adventure. Also, I think we need to lean into the fact that he is a teenager, and we're going to lead a little more into the God of Mischief. So I would love if that he meets these spirits or whatever, and he accidentally, does something that offends them, which kind of leads him off into this adventure of like, him trying to, make amends or something. He's young. He's on his first adventure by himself. Like, let's see him fall a little bit. Like, he's not perfect. So that's what I would do. God of Mischief, short adventure game. Let's get him in. Let's get people excited for Atreus so that we can move him on into the future and, get this second or third, however you want to consider it, franchise going. And let's move on. Let's move on. All right, my second pitch. This is where things are going to get dicey. So, get your keyboards ready, everybody. Pitch number 2, we are doing Kratos one more time. And me personally, in terms of the marketing, in terms of interviews, conversations, we're making it very clear, hey, this is Kratos' last game with us. We are moving on from Kratos to Atreus, hence why we put out the first game, God of Mischief. We are, sunsetting Kratos. Spoilers, I don't plan on killing him off. I just feel like we need to let him go. Like, he's had so many games, if you consider the main ones, he's already at 5, if you're not counting, or 6 if you count like, Ascension, and then you got the, the side PSP games that they made into, actual like PS3, PS4 games or whatever. Like, he's had so many games. We gotta move on, everybody. I'm sorry. So this is gonna be his last ride. We are doing Egypt. I'm gonna call this, God of War Anubis. Again, this is working title. And so what I want to do with this game is, with Valhalla, a lot of people felt like his story is over. And I feel that too. He's now the God of Hope. He has joined Freya on being on like the team that like goes out and meets other pantheons. And, kind of meets with them and like garners peace and, signs the treaties and yada, yada, yada. So I think for this last one, and I guess technically we should call it God of Hope, but I'm going to keep it God of War. We are having him go on his first diplomatic mission with Freya to Egypt. This is his first pantheon. He's going to meet them. Stick with me, everybody. So he's going to get there. Half the gods are going to be like, this is a pantheon killer. We don't like this guy. Like, we don't trust him. Half of them are going to be like, okay, we know his past, but like, he's been doing some good things. Everyone deserves a second chance, yada, yada. Now, I call this Anubis just because I like the name Anubis, and I always like any type of character that looks kind of like a werewolf. Is on my vibe. So just the template, everybody. Let's just assume that wants to take over or something like that. Yada yada. Basically, what I want to happen is that Kratos, they're gonna want to do a trial, and so they're like, we're gonna lock up Kratos until we can get this trial going. Yada yada. Frey's gonna be like, fuck that. Kratos is gonna be like, no, listen, I'm a different guy now. I'll do the trial and everything. I deserve it. Let's not start any business, all right? Let's not do anything brash here. We're gonna put him in jail. Hold on. We'll come back to it, all right? He's in prison. This is where we're gonna play as Freya. Something isn't right. Maybe she discovers this. She's gonna try to figure things out. Eventually break Kratos out of this prison. This is where I want Freya to get some sort of Egyptian weapon. Why? Because I don't want to take any weapons away from Kratos. I like the 3 that he has. And so we kind of need a reason for him to keep his weapons and then also have something that is Egyptian focused. And so I want to give her, because I think Tyr had the 2, I don't know if they're swords, but 2 swords. I guess we'll give her some other sort of Egyptian weapon. But yeah, now you're playing as Freya, so you have the magic, you have the Valkyrie wings, we have some sort of Egyptian weapon. She has her sword too, and we're gonna play as her for a bit, kind of see what's going on. We'll figure it out. We'll break out Kratos. We'll have him with his weapons. We'll have Freya with her stuff and the new Egyptian weapon. And maybe she has some sort of Egyptian magic that she can use. Maybe we make a reference to Prince of Persia, Rewind Time, or something cool like that. And now you can switch between the 2 of them. And it is them saving that pantheon, taking down Anubis, setting things right, and going on their first diplomatic mission. And we will leave it at them, kind of going on, kind of leave it open of like, hey, they're going to keep doing that. And hopefully things will just be like chill down the line. But we're gonna end the story with however we end it, and it will be like, hey everybody, God of Mischief, Loki, Atreus, he's doing his thing now. He's going to take over the franchise. So yeah, again, I'm not killing off Kratos. I do want to add on some sort of Egyptian stuff from here, because we do that with every pantheon. But I don't want to overload Kratos, so I will give it to Freya, which now you can switch between the 2. But we need a reason to be away from Kratos for a bit of the game. So that's how I think I would solve it. So, yep, those are my pitches. Number 1, short adventure, God of Mischief. We were playing as Atreus / Loki with the Native American spirits. He will get the tomahawk on a string. And then we will get the full-fledged 30-hour, full-on game where now you can play as Kratos or Freya. We are in Egypt. I call it God of War Anubis. And again, we will make it clear from the jump that this is Kratos' last adventure and we are moving on to Atreus. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I don't want to kill off Kratos, you know what I'm saying? I have a vision in my head of like when they finally end the franchise, and you're playing as like an old Atreus, like older, he's like in his 30s or whatever, and you get some either final boss or secret final boss where you can go fight Kratos, and you fight him with almost like Tyr style, where he pulls out different mythology weapons, and then he gets serious like phase 2, and then he pulls out his classic weapons, and it's like, okay, this is like the test. Like we gotta prove to Dad we got the skills, and we're gonna end everything right here. I think it would be so sick. But yeah, so that's what I think. But let me know what you would want to play down in the comments down below. What if you're still excited for this Faye thing that might be real, especially now that we might be in China / Japan, and just what you want from the franchise going forward, or maybe you think they should just move on to something new. I don't know. Let me know, and until next time, peace.